as it is. It is only itself, and being never undergoes any kind of modification. It is unborn and indestructible. Consciousness, which is being, does not move. Its nature is never altered. Bliss is of this formless being consciousness. It is ever attained, ever established in its own nature. Inquiry reveals the knowledge of the self as it is. In the course of spiritual practice, generally one of two views is taken up regarding the self and in the attainment of the realization of the self. One view is that of establishing oneself in the self, steadily so. The other view is that of attaining a state in which the self remains steady in oneself, in one's own mind. It is worthwhile to examine your own practice to see if you hold these kinds of views. The former is obviously higher than the latter. If we want the self conceived as an experience or a state to remain steady in our minds, in our experience, we have to ask ourselves, what is this mind in which it would be steady? If the knowledge of the self is to be brought into the life, what is this that is called the life? Whose life? As long as that whose life, whose mind, or the nature of the mind, were left unexamined, how could the desired steadiness, that goal, be reached? The cause of the unsteadiness is not the fleeting nature of the truth or of realization, but the unreal and mirage-like, utterly lacking in solidity nature of the mind, or the one in whom the truth is supposed to abide. If the former view is taken up, there is the idea of establishing oneself in the self. But how is that to be accomplished unless an inquiry be made as to who it is that is to be established? Who is it that now stands distinct, subtly or grossly so, who will become established in the truth? Whether we think the truth should be established in us, or that we should be established in the truth, what is necessary is to know the nature of oneself. Self-realization, therefore, is, we could say, the attainment of the ever-attained, and does not involve establishing the truth in oneself, or oneself in the truth, as well intention as these might be, but the realization of one's only identity as that solitary, indivisible existence, which is ever established, the eternal reality. So while we may loosely speak of realizing the truth within dissolving the mind therein and becoming steady, or abandoning oneself and dissolving into the truth, and thus becoming established in the self. What realization truly is this indivisible abidance in that as that. No one departs from the reality of the self. No one joins the reality of the self. Therefore, there are neither bound nor liberated jivas or individuals. There is just one self, pure existence, consciousness, bliss. For the realization of this, therefore, the Maharshi has advised to inquire, who am I? And thus know our singular, irrefutable, undeniable, unalterable nature. It is neither here nor there, neither now nor then. It is all that exists, and yet it never becomes an object. It never becomes a subject. It just is as it is. And this is true for all eternity. Therefore, inquire deeply as to the nature of your being or your consciousness. And know it as it is. In this is found the permanence of realization, for that which is unborn is imperishable.